I'll be honest, I don't even know how to... should we even do our cold open like normal, or should we just jump straight into it this time?
I've been trying the angle of fitting in the Tifa story somehow, but I'm not going to do it. So,
As I awkwardly fit it in right now.
that's the closest I can get.
That's what you
it's an admittance of defeat more than anything else.
Nothing. Fucking ridiculous. All right. Well, let's get into it, man, because we got a lot to talk about here. What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 79. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host, Connor Elliott. Say hello to the people, Connor.
Howdy.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this show comes to you every week, Monday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/2pennygamescast, or mainstream podcast services of your choice. We got the Google Podcast, the Apple Podcast, Spotify, SoundCloud. We're out here. Please, please, please go follow, go like, go share. And subscribe to any and all of those. We really, really do appreciate it. Get us out there in front of more eyes and all that good stuff. If you want to see us play video games live, we go live every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Central, over at twitch.tv/2pennygames, in which me and my good buddy Phil put on a show called Hype, Have You Ever Played? Where one of us shows the other a game they have never played before. This week, we should... I'm gonna put an asterisk there. We should be finishing his first ever playthrough of God of War. Putting an asterisk there. Who knows?
There's already been a lot of setbacks.
There's been a lot of setbacks. We're slow rolling this one. We just, we're having a good time exploring the world of God of War. So please come join us. Watch that, all that great stuff. We're gonna have it after the Hype review up as soon as possible once that playthrough is complete. But if you didn't know, this show is called the Two Penny Gamescast, and that is because me and Connor come to you every week, and we each bring you two topics, or 2 pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. Now, this week, however, is going to be a little different, and it's all about video game news. I failed to mention that. Mm-hmm. It's all about the video game news. So if you're not a gamer, stick around anyway, because we have good conversations. And this week, pretty important stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, ladies and gentlemen, usually it's the oh, I got a penny, Connor's got a penny, I got a penny, Connor's got a penny. This week, some big ass news has happened, and it's pretty much just going to take up the entirety of the show, in which I will lay out here in just a few moments. But first, let's just get right to it. Microsoft Xbox has acquired Activision Blizzard King. I'm going to pull straight from. Oh man. You think after a year and a half of doing this shit, Connor, you think at some point I would learn to take my time codes?
Yeah, that is always the constant.
It's always tough, man. It's always tough. Anyways, so I'm pulling straight from Xbox's website here, welcoming the incredible teams and legendary franchises of Activision Blizzard to Microsoft Gaming by Phil Spencer. Creators of Call of Duty, Warcraft, Candy Crush, Tony Hawk, Diablo, Overwatch, Spyro, Hearthstone, Guitar Hero, Crash Bandicoot, StarCraft, and more join Team Xbox. As a team, we are on a mission to extend the joy and community of gaming to everyone on the planet. We all know that gaming is the most vibrant and dynamic form of entertainment worldwide, and we've experienced the power of social connection and friendship that gaming makes possible. As we pursue that mission, it is incredibly exciting to announce that Microsoft has agreed to acquire Activision Blizzard. Over many decades, the studios and teams that make up Activision Blizzard have earned vast wellsprings of joy and respect from billions of people all over the world. We are incredibly excited to have the chance to work with the amazing, talented, dedicated people across Activision Publishing, Blizzard Entertainment, Beenox, Demonware, Digital Legends, High Moon Studios, Infinity Ward, King, Major League Gaming, Radical Entertainment, Raven Software, Sledgehammer Games, Toys for Bob, Treyarch, and every team across Activision Blizzard. Until this transaction closes, Activision Blizzard and Microsoft Gaming will continue to operate independently. Once the deal is complete, the Activision Blizzard business will report to me as CEO of Microsoft Gaming. Upon close, we will offer as many Activision Blizzard games as we can within Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass. Both new titles and games from Activision Blizzard's incredible catalog. We also announced today that Game Pass has now more than 25 million subscribers. As always, we look forward to continuing to add more value and more great games to Game Pass. The fantastic franchises across Activision Blizzard will also accelerate our plans for cloud gaming, allowing more people in more places around the world to participate in the Xbox community using phones, tablets, laptops, and other devices you already own. Activision Blizzard games are enjoyed on a variety of platforms, and we plan to continue to support those communities moving forward. As a company, Microsoft is committed to our journey for inclusion in every aspect of gaming among both employees and players. We deeply value individual studio cultures. We also believe that creative success and autonomy go hand in hand with treating every person with dignity and respect. We hold all teams and all leaders to this commitment. We're looking forward to extending our culture of proactive inclusion to the great teams across Activision Blizzard. Around the world, there is no more exciting venue for fun and connection than video games, and there have never been a better time to play than right now. As we extend the joy and community of gaming to everyone, we look forward to welcoming all our friends at Activision Blizzard to Microsoft Gaming. So, lots of big news. Lots of crazy stuff happening. All of it kind of all at once.
Yeah.
So we're going to break it down bit by bit and what it all means. Now, I think all of this, and correct me if I'm wrong, Connor, all of this can kind of be summarized with three main questions that need to be answered. One, and most importantly, how does this affect workplace culture at Activision Blizzard, which we'll get into into a second first. How should the industry respond, namely PlayStation and other third-party publishers such as EA, Ubisoft, Square Enix, all of those guys. And then what does this mean for gamers? Do you think that about covers most of it?
No. Yeah, that covers everything.
I mean, we're going to get more nitty-gritty into those big three in a second. But just a bullet point here. The big news from this, Microsoft acquires Activision Blizzard, which we learned for about 68 point...
the exact number is $68.7 billion, which actually makes it one of the biggest acquisitions of all time. Yes.
Jesus Christ. 68, you said 0.7?
68.7 billion, yes. That's the exact number.
$7 billion. Game Pass has 25 million subscribers, and all of this is coming to Game Pass in some way or form, in some shape, or way or shape or form, some way in the future. But here at the Two Penny Gamescast, we hold a policy here that we love video games, we live in the gaming ecosphere every day, and we enjoy them, and it's our thing. It's what we do. We acknowledge that video games are toys. Very expensive, very artistic, very nice toys, which are super emotionally impactful, yada, 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 but they're toys. And unfortunately, Activision Blizzard is wrapped up in a huge controversy that we've been covering over for the last year with their abusive workplace culture that has just been unraveled and come to light in the last year in a bunch of nasty ways. So we believe when it's important, you put the toys to the side and you talk about the people. The people is what matters. Because without the people, we don't get games. And we don't get good games, definitely.
No.
So, first and foremost, we're going to talk about everything surrounding Activision Blizzard and how this acquisition could or could not or affect it in any ways. Connor, off the top, when it comes to workplace culture, do you think this acquisition is going to benefit ABK or hurt it in the long run, or is it going to be more of the same?
So, the first thing to take into consideration, now, if some other company had acquired Activision Blizzard, my response would be no. Probably not really much would be done about it. Now, disclaimer, when it comes to the talking heads at Activision Blizzard, none of them are really going to face repercussions. We'll get into more about Bobby Kotick later on, but he's definitely not getting his just desserts for his role in the harassment that was going on at Activision Blizzard. That being said, it is Microsoft. Microsoft, for a while now, has had a prime directive of appealing to the gaming community. They want gamers to like them. They want to like their product, their services, even their people that they put forward, like Phil Spencer. I mean, he's got a good public rapport with gamers. In fact, when the first reports of Activision Blizzard harassment was coming out, he was one of the first people to say that they're keeping an eye on the situation and they'll see what happens. Obviously, they ended up buying Activision Blizzard, so something pretty big happened. So it makes sense that they'd want to continue with their original plan of looking good to everybody else. And I can expect to see some people walking out as a result of them buying them. Now, we have to wait a little while to actually see if that's going to be happening, because right now they're still operating independently. But it could really swing either way. You can see them actually fire workers, make a big public display about it, about how they're shutting down on the people that were causing problems initially. But you could also see them just kind of dedicate themselves to preventing this from happening in the future, and I do believe they will do that. I am hopeful for later down the line, them eradicating all of those negatives in that workplace culture to allow for a more inclusive, better functioning, morally functioning business. As to whether like I said, they probably won't do anything to anybody. Try to keep it as non-confrontational as possible and push out all the people rather than punishing them, because they don't really seem to have a strong desire to want to bring these people to justice who did these bad things. So to keep it simple, we'll probably just see Microsoft try to clean up in Activision Blizzard itself so as they don't have these problems later on in the future. Which always just kind of disappoints me, because I wanted actual actions to happen against the people that caused the problem in the first place. Because time and time and again with harassment issues like what happened with Activision Blizzard, the people who do it just kind of get away with a slap on the wrist. I think Bobby Kotick specifically, what he was silencing was that some developer, some developer somewhere, I can't even remember, he pretty much gave him a slap on the wrist, made him go to counseling, even though he sexually harassed other workers.
Yeah. So for the most part, I'm with you here. I think if anybody is to acquire ABK, I think Microsoft, based off of their reputation, what we hear and also what we don't hear about Microsoft, I think this does point us generally in a better direction than we have been for the last year. And obviously the year that we've known about this. For the most part, we don't hear a lot of harassment or anything crazy going on at Xbox Game Studios. We don't hear crazy reports of harassment or assault, physical, sexual, racial, otherwise doesn't seem to happen a whole lot. I'm sure it does exist, because of course it does.
You can't get rid of it, unfortunately.
You can't get rid of it, unfortunately, 100%. But you don't hear of it being widespread amongst Xbox Game Studios, and for the most part, Xbox Game Studios seems to be a pretty good place to work.
For reference, they have like a 4.4 star rating on Glassdoor, which has a lot of employee reviews. It's a well-liked company to work for.
So this acquisition makes me hopeful in that way. Alongside Phil Spencer heading it all, it's kind of an undernoted thing. Let me go back to the statement here. It's kind of an undernoted thing. They don't really draw that much attention to it, but his title has now changed. It was head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, and now it's CEO of Microsoft Gaming. So now Microsoft as a whole is putting their gaming branch right alongside every other branch of their company, which is probably long overdue. Xbox makes Microsoft a bunch of money.
Tons of money.
So now, and I think this acquisition also opens up Xbox, or rather the gaming branch of Microsoft, to do more than just hardware production and software production. You know, they talked about cloud streaming and all of this other stuff. So all of that is great and cool. But speaking specifically to this culture, Phil Spencer seems like a really solid dude. Every interview I've ever seen him in, every time someone ever talks about Phil Spencer, they're like, great guy. You know, he definitely seems like he keeps it as real as he can for being, you know, the head of $1 billion corporation. You know, he seems to be as honest as he can be and as forthcoming as he can be. I believe just it's mentioned somewhere in one of the articles that we're going to pull from, but I'm not reading the entire article, so it doesn't really matter. It was like last week. I almost threw it into the doc for last week's episode, but I didn't think it was important enough. Man, do I wish I thought it was important enough now. But Phil Spencer was in the news last week talking about how their relationship with Activision Blizzard has changed since they initially put out that statement of we're reevaluating our relationship with them. And he was initially like, listen, man, Xbox has a history too. We're not perfect, but we try and we do our best. And from an outsider speaking in, it seems like lately they've been doing a pretty good job. And you can go back and look, and there's some questionable things that Xbox has done in the past, but we're talking 15 years ago, 10 years ago, you know, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So it definitely seems like they've fully turned that, or you know, or at least heading in a better direction than most of these bigger gaming companies in which harassment and so forth runs rampant. but then he then went to continue to say, hey, he's like, hey man, our relationship has changed with them, but that's on the back end, and I can't say too much right now. But just know that I don't believe in punishing other companies for their behavior. It was sort of like a let the market speak type thing. Well, when you are the market, Phil Spencer, I guess you can say things like that. So now it's this weird place that we're in, where we go, oh, okay, you've been aiming for them to run, because you look at them and go, oh, that's a mess of management. I can do that better. So I appreciate that. I think that was, I'm gonna guess that was Phil's primary goal in fighting for this acquisition when talking with his bosses over at Microsoft, because it's not a small chunk of change that he just bought this company for. I imagine that was his first priority. I would hope that's his first priority, is to get all of this harassment scandal stuff under control. And as the deal finalizes and continues, I'm sure we're going to figure out how that California lawsuit is gonna play out. I imagine it's just going to have to be Xbox is going to have to take it over, and they settle it as quickly as they can. And I imagine also they're going to be a lot more forthcoming with California law than Kotick was. Again, I can only predict these things. We've yet to see what the reality is. No. So, grain of salt with everything I'm saying right now.
I just have a quick... I know this is just theorizing. When do you think that they began... Because this could impact this definitely.
Yeah.
When do you think they started getting into talks about acquiring Activision Blizzard? Do you think it happened as a response to the accusations that came out a while ago? Or was it even in talks before that? And this is just another caveat.
I've seen some back and forth of when this is taking place. I imagine nothing serious was happening until that lawsuit hit. And then I think that's when Phil Spencer said, okay, I'm going to fix that shit real quick. I imagine that's how that went down. There were reports of like, hey, before the lawsuit, there was some talks, preliminary talks. They weren't sure if they were going to Microsoft. And then when Microsoft made an offer, Kotick was shopping around to try and find something like this. It's really impressive to me that nobody knew about this. This wasn't a leak. There wasn't rumors. There weren't whispers about this at all. There were talks with smaller dev studios that were acquired by Xbox, by PlayStation, by whoever, where like you heard rumors, you heard whispers, you had ideas. This one completely out of nowhere, left like blindsided. I feel like a lot of people knew the Bethesda acquisition was, not a lot of people, but I think some people knew the Bethesda acquisition was coming before it came. Nobody knew about this. Which I do think that the news outlet media has done a pretty good job of following it beat by beat and laying out all the information as clearly as possible. So I want to commend all of the writers who are working their asses off, I'm sure, and getting as many updates as they can in this evolving conversation. So now it's a matter of what does Microsoft do? How do they interact with ABK's employees and workforce and unions? I want to pull a better ABK Workers Alliance. Their tweets, which is their front running union that has been formed to fight all of these harassment issues at ABK Studios and so forth. Which I believe Raven Software right now is in the middle of their strike. So our position is always let the workers dictate the employers, because that's where your bread and butter is. So if you're not taking care of them, you're not taking care of your people, how can you expect us to support you? Type of thing. So their response was in a series of tweets. Quote, the news of Activision's acquisition by Microsoft is surprising, but does not change the goals of the ABK's Workers Alliance. We remain committed to fighting for workplace improvements and the rights of our employees, regardless of who is financially in control of the company. We will continue to work alongside our allies across the gaming industry to push for measurable change in an industry that desperately needs it. We called for the removal of Bobby Kotick as CEO in November for shielding abusers, and he still remains CEO as of this writing. The strike for Raven QA is in its 5th week, and our striking staff has still not received response from leadership regarding our request to negotiate. And finally, 3 out of 4 of our original collective demands to improve the conditions of women in our workforce have not been met. Whatever the leadership structure of the company, we will continue to push to hashtag end abuse in gaming and appreciate the outpouring of support we've experienced in the last year. Business as usual right now. Now, it's worth noting things like these take a long time. This is a big business deal, and it's not done and finalized and closed as of right now. In fact, I'm going to pull Jason Schreier pulled an email that Bobby Kotick sent to his staff the day of the acquisition. And this excerpt reads, "What's next? Transitions like these can take a long time to complete. Until we receive all the necessary regulatory approvals and other customary closing conditions are satisfied, which we expect to be sometime in Microsoft's fiscal 2023 year, ending June 30th, 2023, we will continue to operate completely autonomously. I will continue as our CEO with the same passion and enthusiasm I had when I began this amazing journey in 1991. Interesting. Of course, this announcement will give rise to so many questions. We will host numerous forums and events to make certain we address your concerns. I am incredibly proud of this company, you, and the work we have done together. Now, it's on to our next chapter and the endless possibilities this transaction represents for us. I couldn't be more appreciative of your efforts, focus, and the dedication to connecting the world through joy and fun." All of that sounds like a crock of shit to me. But, moving on. So clearly it's going to be a while before this acquisition fully goes through. We're looking mid-2023, so we have another year and a half, give or take a few months, depending on how long the process takes, before we can even expect any type of real change to happen. I would assume, first and foremost, with the removal of Bobby Kotick as CEO.
Yes.
I'm sure he's going to get some several $100 million severance package on his way out the door, which does suck. He shouldn't get that. He shouldn't get that. He should go to jail. Yes. But
we can realistically kind of understand that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Of course, the lawsuit also is important because it is, like as you said, it's about a year and a half until they actually finalize the deal. In that time, California can put the screws to Activision Blizzard and, in a way, solve this issue before it actually gets completely handed over to Microsoft. Now, the realism of that actually happening is pretty small. These things, as you said, things generally just move slowly when it comes to any kind of lawsuit, any kind of accusations that actually gets a lot of traction.
Change is slow, always has been.
It always has been. So I'm very doubtful that any prominent change will take place before that occurs, but ideally that would be the best time for it to happen because those are the moments when you would see the most amount of I'm struggling on bringing up a word, on payback, I guess, for the people who caused the problem in the first place. Bad choice of words.
Yes. I'm of the position, yes, this is not ideal. But none of it was ideal. Ideally, I get to go work, if I'm a dev or just an employee, I get to go work at this company and have a great time and make my games and you know, clock in, clock out, and go see my family. Unfortunately, that's just not the reality, and we have to deal with that reality. Kotick's removal, with either the hard standing consequences that we want or not, is still progress. He's gone, or will be gone. Let's be honest. Kotick's a dead man walking at this company. He's not gonna stick around. As soon as Phil Spencer has control, I imagine you're out.
Yes.
And then it'll be in a politically nice way of like, yeah, you know, I'm choosing to leave, you know, and you know, if they ever need me, they can reach out, and I'm still going to be part of the product, yada yada yada. It's all going to be whatever talk it is that'll you know best support your investors or whatever.
Don't expect a public vlogging. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But Kotick, I fully believe is just a dead man walking in here. Like he's on his way out. Everybody knows it. He knows it. It's just the unfortunate side is he's not out in handcuffs. He's out with a couple $100 million, more than likely.
And it's over for him in this industry. I would be pretty confident in saying that.
Yeah.
But industries, he's got other ones he can go for. Doesn't he hold a bunch of stock in Coca-Cola, for example, or something else? Yeah.
Yeah, he does. So it's messy. But Kodak's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know, he'll walk around with his billions of dollars still.
That's the bitter taste you're always going to have when it comes to this kind of story.
I mean,
No
it's
matter how much things
unfortunate,
get better, it's
but
going to be.
At the end of the day, progress is progress. With him gone, now we can put some real leadership in there.
Yes.
You know, someone who can actually do what they need to do and get ABK back on track. And that's hopeful. Now, Connor, you sent in an article from Video Games Chronicle, sort of detailing some of the work that has already been done since this lawsuit dropped. Activision Blizzard has got rid of almost 40 employees for workplace misconduct. In January 21, the lawsuit, in a bid to combat allegations of workplace toxicity and a failure to tackle the issue, the company launched an investigation into allegations of sexual harassment and other misconduct. According to the Wall Street Journal sources, Activision has received around 700 reports from employees concerning workplace misconduct and other issues since last July, a figure the publisher disputes, and has so far reviewed about 90% of them. Activision Blizzard did, however, confirm that 37 employees have, quote, exited the company, and a further 44 have been disciplined as part of its investigation into allegations of sexual harassment and other misconduct. The Wall Street Journal claims Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick delayed plans to release a summary of these actions before Christmas, as it could make the situation look even worse than was already known. Activision Blizzard's share price has fallen nearly 30% since last July, and almost 20% of it, approximately 10,000 employees, and almost 20% of its approximately 10,000 employees have signed a petition calling for Kotick to resign, something he reportedly told senior managers he would do if he couldn't quickly fix the culture problems at the company. The Wall Street Journal claimed in November that Kotick was aware of multiple sexual misconduct allegations at Activision, some of which it's claimed he withheld from the company's board, which has continued to back him. An Activision Blizzard spokesperson told the publication this month that, quote, the board's support for Bobby is unchanged, and it is pleased with the commitment and leadership Bobby has demonstrated so far. And then here's where it is where Phil Spencer claimed the platform holder had changed how Xbox had changed certain things with Activision in the wake of recent allegations, but he said it doesn't think it's his job to punish other companies for their transactions. So some things have been done. You know, okay, cool, that's great, progress made, fantastic. The vague wording around the 44 other employees have been disciplined, concerning to me, because what is disciplining? Okay, they got some counseling. What is that? What does that mean? They were suspended for 2 weeks. Okay.
We know one of them got counseling, and that was it. So who really knows who else could have been it?
So like, where does this really end?
In case I've forgotten, I haven't noticed any particular Activision Blizzard employee that's been thrown to the wolves and made an example of. Sometimes when you have any kind of controversial situation like this happen, you have that one guy who goes down and it's very publicized. There hasn't really been anybody who's been in that role, has there? Like, obviously some upper management has left as a result of them causing problems, but none of them have actually faced severe consequences from what we've seen.
It's a lot of leaving peacefully type stuff.
Which what we expect to happen with Kotick, because that's what they do. And
I imagine when Kotick goes, the tone of the conversation will change as well. And I hope that Xbox really does take the initiative and really does start cleaning house here, because it needs to happen. There's a lot of talent over at ABK. You're talking, Call of Duty, which has waned in recent years, which we'll get into all of that later. You're talking World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Candy Crush. You're talking Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, like the Toys for Bob and I forget their name, Visceral Games, I think. The people who do Tony Hawk are all great studios with a lot of great people, and many of them have been pretty much reduced to being support studios for Call of Duty or Overwatch or Diablo or something. Something that makes more money. And the word on the block is that all of that was working until the pandemic, and now all of their business strategies are failing. Mm-hmm. Which probably makes sense as to why they agreed to sell for $68.7 billion fucking dollars. Which, like, just for context, because that number's fucking ridiculous.
Billion.
It's
a lot.
$68.7 billion. For context, Disney bought Marvel for $4 billion, then went and bought Star Wars for $4.5 billion. So, 8.5? Okay. The Bethesda purchase Xbox made last year was $7
billion.
So $7 billion.
Mm-hmm.
It was around $7 billion for that one. So Bethesda alone was almost the equivalent of Marvel and Star Wars together. Mm-hmm. That's fucking crazy. And now we are going damn near 7 times that number for ABK. Holy fucking shit.
You'd think they'd be a pharmaceutical company or something, not a video game company.
I'm fucking saying, man. Like, it changes the whole game. And, step one really just needs to be Kodak's gotta get out of here. And I think we've already, we've talked about everybody, that's the kind of the conversation happening in the ecosphere is, okay, it's just a matter of time. And I think he knows it as well. You also sent in this article, telling a story of Bobby Kotick, of frustrating employees at an internal meeting. This is from Eurogamer. Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick held an internal meeting on the morning of the 20th of January to address employee concerns about the Microsoft acquisition. However, according to a report by the Washington Post, employees were left frustrated. The fireside chat, which took place over video conference, was just 16 minutes long instead of the billed 30 minutes. Kotick rocked up 7 minutes late and failed to respond to fielded questions submitted by employees in advance of the meeting. Instead of addressing employee concerns around the takeover, and the ongoing sexual harassment lawsuit, he discussed Microsoft's interest in the metaverse and joked that employees wouldn't have to migrate to Microsoft Teams. Quote, "I can tell you that my commitment to the company is to remain in my role," said Kotick. "Once the deal closes, what I've committed to Microsoft is I will stay as long as is necessary to ensure that we have a great integration and great transition." Employees believe this suggests Kotick will not remain at the company once the acquisition is complete, as reports have suggested, but that he will at least be staying until that point. Quote, "He likened Activision to be as important to his children, and I feel like he will not let go of it," an anonymous employee told the Washington Post. With no mention of the strike, the lawsuit, or any of the continuing issues, there may as well have not been a Q&A at all. We could have read a press release and slept an extra 15 minutes. Kotick said that, quote, "The transition is going to be smooth because Microsoft is committed to trying to retain as many of our people as possible, worrying employees that layoffs still may not occur or may still occur in the future." Since the news of the acquisition broke, employees have taken to social media to voice their opinions, both positive and negative, which I think rightfully so. It's a lot of questions and a lot of concerns. You're going from one CEO head to another billion-dollar corporation to another. Sure, the names and the chairs get flipped around a little bit, but is change really coming? I hope so. Mm-hmm. I expect so. I so desperately want to give Xbox the benefit of the doubt, but again, we'll have to see. This is messy.
My biggest fear regarding this story is if those workers are going to have any jobs. I feel like Microsoft there won't be any layoffs. I feel like Microsoft would keep them on. Ideally, I would also want that to happen.
There's going to be terminations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But widespread layoffs, no. I think they're going to... You don't spend $68 billion and then lay everybody off. Mm-hmm, yeah. Like...
You're getting the workers along with all the products as well. You're getting everything, a whole package.
Exactly. And I believe from the character presented the character that Phil Spencer has presented of himself, I believe he is 1,000% intending on just to fix the culture. Mm-hmm. Sure, the billions of dollars he's going to make off of Candy Crush is going to help, and I'm sure that's how he got his heads at Microsoft to agree to this deal, saying, "Yo, we'll make this money back easy. Give it a few years, easy money." Mm-hmm. This is Call of Duty, this is World of Warcraft, this is Candy Crush we're talking about. Yeah. We're going to make the money back.
Shouldn't be that difficult when he's talking to a room full of rich people too. They already have money.
I'm saying.
No reason to say no.
But from what he's shown, alongside probably getting a lot of those great IPs that Activision Blizzard has squandered back into the ecosphere, the Crash Bandicoots, the Spyros, the Tony Hawks, and he even mentioned a couple of more vague ones that are his favorites that I'd never fucking heard of. Guitar Hero, his in talks of coming back, shockingly.
Yeah. Shredding on the guitar once again, baby.
Let's go, man. I'm down. Whatever. Fuck it. Put it in VR. That sounds great now that you think about it, right?
Like, oh, damn.
Anyways, I believe his first priority is to get the culture working, to get these employees in a better space.
Mm-hmm. They obviously want to tap into the potential that Activision Blizzard has, but there is that tumor that that they're buying with Activision Blizzard, and they need to take care of that first.
Yeah.
And in a way that doesn't make everyone else just as upset as they were when the news first broke, which I doubt it will ever get up to that kind of level.
It's really just a matter of how many plates can they spin at once, you know, without compromising the others. The harassment thing absolutely needs to be front and center. That one absolutely needs to happen first. Yeah. Sure, if you want to start, you know, splitting your teams up, make Call of Duty a biannual thing instead of an annual title, and then have Warzone support the middle ground, whatever, that's cool. That's great. You want to bring Toys for Bob and Visceral Vicarious. Fuck. It's going to drive me crazy. Hold on.
Didn't Visceral Games go out of business or something?
Yeah, Visceral's the one, the EA one that they shut down. I'm looking for... Radical... They don't name it here. The Tony Hawk team. I think it's Vicarious. Anyways.
Vicarious, yes. Vicarious Visions.
Yeah, okay.
And Neversoft.
If they want to bring these studios back in a meaningful way and not just be support studios for Call of Duty, I imagine that's the goal as well, because why would you not... How hilarious is it that Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot are going to be Xbox exclusives in the coming years? But front and center, let's get the workplace where it needs to be.
Yeah. I remember I was really upset when those stories broke when we unveiled that all these successful games, the developers were just being taken and made new outfits for Overwatch and working on content for Warzone. It is nice to know that there is a revitalization of these guys potentially being able to make the games they were already doing good with before Activision and Blizzard screwed them over. Generally, I think that's just another good indicator of how much better Microsoft will be than Activision Blizzard in owning all of these new developers.
And it brings me Studios. It raises a lot of questions for me of what's going to happen with all of these properties. But specifically, what I'm curious about is how the rest of the industry now responds to this, because this is. Connor, would you say this is the biggest news to hit the industry, or some of the biggest news? Or
to put it in perspective, Microsoft is predicting, I have it written down here in my little notes, that when the acquisition finally goes through, they'll be the third largest video game company by revenue. The top being Tencent, right below that being Sony. Right now, Apple is in that third spot, but this would obviously bring them up to the game. So it's safe to say, in terms of revenue, which... pretty substantial. It shows you how big the news is in any capacity for something to overtake Apple. You would have to do something pretty big, which they obviously have.
Candy Crush will take you there. Candy Crush
will take all the way. Everyone plays that.
Yeah. From an industry perspective, this acquisition does concern me. This is huge, and it's off of the back of Microsoft already going on a spending spree that we thought ended with the Bethesda acquisition last year. We were like, oh, okay, they spent their $7 billion, they're going to chill now. Little did we know they were willing to invest 10 times that amount and buy one of the biggest third-party publishers in the industry. And suddenly, like, all right, shackles are off. Now all of you motherfuckers are up for grabs. So now we sit here and we think, because this acquisition is too big not to respond to. It's too big. It's too much. And for, like, you're speaking Call of Duty alone, there's already some back and forth with Xbox and Sony, and we'll get into that in a second. But, like, man, do we have to really start worrying about whether or not we've got some what is the word I'm looking for, Connor? When you're too big.
Competition?
No, when you're too big, you got too much of the
monopoly.
We're like the monopolization of this industry coming down to 2 or 3 companies. Like, you really look, and at the end of all of that, sure, there's Tencent, which is just huge. But it's really going to be dictated by who has the hardware.
Yes.
And it's Xbox, it's PlayStation, it's Nintendo is in that conversation as well, though they're not directly neck and neck as Xbox and PlayStation are.
you brought up Tencent, so I'll bring it up again. They have been coming under a lot of attack from the Chinese government, where they're based out of, to limit the amount of hours that their own countrymen play. Obviously, it doesn't affect people like us over here, but they're already taking a beating. So to have this big other company acquire Bethesda Activision, as you said before, it's just too big to just kind of let it go by and not say anything about it.
So now you got to sit here and wonder, because this is affecting everything. Pulling a excerpt from a Tech Radar article. Once the Activision Blizzard thing was announced, acquisition was announced, stock in Sony plunged overnight by 13%, equating $20 billion lost in the company in the wake of Microsoft's announcement that it will purchase Activision Blizzard. According to Bloomberg and Eurogamer, this is the largest fall in stock price in Sony's history since 2008. Okay. All right.
That was a market crash,
granted,
by the way. In
that's a vacuum.
Yeah.
That and Sony having to fill that vacuum with their own losses. Like, that's what that is. Suddenly everything's off the board, so other people are selling, and I don't 100% understand how stocks work, but suddenly a lot of prices just went up, and a lot of things got sold, you know? So now we're sitting $20 billion lost in market share value? What the fuck? That's not tiny. And it's been over a decade since that last happened, or anything close to that last happened. So now we're looking at, and since 2008, you're looking at the world recession.
I know. That was a global catastrophe, and it's rivaling that for this one company.
So,
and it makes sense, because my brother, he was talking like, okay, should I get an Xbox or a PlayStation? Ultimately, he went with Xbox because they acquired ZeniMax. He wants to play those Bethesda games because maybe they're only available on those consoles and PC. So he wants to get in on that. Now, Activision Blizzard, Call of Duty is now a conversation of whether it'll be on PlayStation. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But for you to worry about whether you're going to be able to play Call of Duty on your PlayStation because of a deal going through,
Call of Duty.
Yes.
That's not a small title, man. That's what casuals play. That's what people who aren't gamers but like will play video games. That's what they buy. And then they buy the Madden and they buy the Call of Duty. And that's what they buy.
Yeah.
You know?
What reason do they have to go to those people? Why would they get a PlayStation?
Why?
If it is locked down to just Xbox or PC, they'll be like, well, I don't play anything else. Might as well just get an Xbox.
And we just had an episode a few weeks ago about if you're looking to get into gaming, where do you start? Okay, yeah, it was a bit of a nuanced conversation before, but now it's like, fuck no, man, buy an Xbox. Buy an Xbox, get Game Pass. Mm-hmm. You win. You just win.
You're only going to be missing out on some Sony exclusives, but other than that, you can kind of expect any game to come out to be on your console.
Which, personally, I would still say Sony still puts out the best quality video games out there. But at some point the quantity does outweigh the quality. At some point it does, especially when Xbox games don't miss either. They're great. 2 Game of the Year contenders just last year.
Yeah.
With 3 Game of the Year contenders with Psychonauts 2, which was multi-platform and you can play it on PlayStation, but it was an Xbox Game Studio game. Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite. Those were phenomenal games, and they all kicked ass, and they're all Xbox. Like it's not like Xbox isn't putting up the same numbers in terms of quality either. So now, if you're Sony, you're probably doing your best not to panic and to make a smart decision that makes sense. So now you're looking around and you go, well, we've got to beef up our side too because we don't have the numbers anymore, which is crazy. This is a conversation we would have laughed at last week, let alone last year before the Bethesda acquisition. It really is far-reaching. It really does have the potential to change everything in this industry business-wise, and which will eventually change how we play games as well. So now, what? You're Sony. You look around. You go, which one of these fuckers can we do right now? Who can we afford? What do we want? And just with the size of Activision Blizzard alone, man, you're looking at EA. You're looking at Ubisoft. You're looking at Square Enix. You're looking at Konami. If I'm PlayStation, I buy Konami tomorrow.
Or Square Enix. I mean, Square Enix has been associated with PlayStation for years.
For years. Final Fantasy always has a yearly exclusive thing with PlayStation. There's many PlayStation exclusive games under the Square Enix catalog.
No, I don't think Square Enix would sell. Nor Konami. Well, I could see Konami doing it. I guess
I think any of these companies would sell for $68.7 billion, Connor.
my only underlining issue is because it did come at the time where Activision was dealing with a lot of problems before this acquisition was even announced. Square Enix, Konami, we don't really hear about them struggling to make
You're going to tell me, with those same variables put on them, Ubisoft gets bought. Ubisoft has the same issues.
Ubisoft,
Not as front runner as Activision Blizzard, but they're still there. It's still that. It's that. Hey, this is a really shitty place to work. Also, Ubisoft too.
Yeah.
You know,
EA and Ubisoft are the biggest.
Ubisoft gets bought. If Sony cuts that check, you're gonna tell me Square Enix and Konami don't accept that check if it gets sent their way?
I think
if I'm Sony, I buy those publishers just because it'd be a little easier.
Not have to worry about going over to Xbox because they're obviously interested in buying things.
I mean,
those are just the less likely options as opposed to something like EA and Ubisoft, which I think we'd be chomping at the bit to have
I think
a deal
just
like
the close relationship between Konami and Square Enix both to Sony makes them a better buy. Sony's only interested in things that make sense. They've said it before. We would rather work with someone for a while and then acquire them in a way that seems natural and makes sense. But now, all right, Xbox has kind of put your feet to the fire. Now, granted, it's a different business strategy. Xbox is buying their win. They're paying to win here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like they don't have the talent and the initiative to back up their purchases. Sony has closely accumulated and grown their talent pool into the size that it is today, and that's why their games hit the hardest, because they said, no, we want the best and we're only going to focus on the best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they are what they are. But now, oh, sorry, bro, you kind of have to reach outside your comfort zone a little bit and do something not drastic, but a little more intense.
It's as you said, eventually quality is going to, in certain situations, can give into quantity, especially when the quantity still has lots of value.
Yeah.
Microsoft is bringing that to the table. So you can't really, there was a time when you could easily rely on, well, people will buy the PlayStation because we have Last of Us, we have God of War, we have all these games that people are raring to play.
All of this is still true.
And it's still true. That's why a lot of people would go on to buy PS5s.
Yeah.
And are still going to have, PS5s are still going to be selling out the door. It's not going to be any easier to get them. But
if next year Call of Duty, and this conversation would have been way easier to have if it happened 2 years ago, before the launch of these last consoles. But if the conversation is, where can I play Call of Duty? It's Xbox. And again, we'll get into that in a minute. Yeah, man, I just think, to me, you buy it, like Square Enix makes sense because Square Enix also plays around with Marvel games, which Sony is very closely tied to Marvel games, business-wise, with Spider-Man and, I guess Spider-Man and Wolverine now with the Insomniac games. And then Square Enix doing Avengers and, Guardians of the Galaxy. That makes a lot of business sense. That you don't have to change a lot of the paperwork if you acquire Square Enix and still work those games, Lara Croft has a history on PlayStation. Bam, Square Enix owns Tomb Raider. That's an easy purchase right there. Now, we've lost Hitman in the last few years because Square Enix let IO Interactive go, and they let IO have Hitman as it is, which I commend them for letting them do that. I think that was a great move, and I think the quality of Hitman 3 from everything I've heard shows that was the best possible move for gamers. And then on top of that, man, like Final Fantasy has, ever since Final Fantasy VII has been a PlayStation, has found its home on PlayStation. Mm-hmm. So
they actually, back in the day, I think they got really who got
and
angry
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yeah, Kingdom Hearts. Damn.
Yeah, if I'm Sony, I buy PlayStation. Or if I'm Sony, I buy Square Enix.
Mm-hmm. Ideally, they would buy Square Enix. I'm just questioning whether that would actually happen, even with Activision Blizzard getting bought out by Microsoft. Point remains, Sony's going to have to do some catching up in one way or another. Obviously they can't just pay to win like Microsoft did. You can't acquire something as big. Well, they've already got their backlog of studios and games that they can hold up and say, yo man, you want the best? Here they are. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is what we have. So do you think they need to just push more into that than they ever have before? Like, hey, you are not getting these games on Xbox. You're getting them here.
It's just a matter of that you just don't have the numbers anymore. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of that.
Yes.
Xbox it feels like Xbox now owns half the industry.
They will be owning 32 studios by the time the deal is going through.
In comparison, do you have PlayStation studio numbers?
I do
I
not.
think they're at like fucking 14, 20, something like this.
Yes. And this would be an increase by 9 from the 23 studios that they have right now. So they're already better than Sony in that regard. 9 extra ones, you can't really top that.
Sony Interactive Entertainment consists of 17 game development studios.
17, yeah.
This puts them up to 25?
They're at 23 right now. It'll put them up to 32.
Holy fucking shit.
Because Blizzard Activision has 9 studios underneath their belt, and they're all going to Microsoft.
You need to do something a little more intense. Mm-hmm. Not drastic. Be smart about it. Don't do something stupid. I think EA is off the table. I mean, they're not for the right check, but I think acquiring EA would be a bad choice. I think Ubisoft would be equivalent to ABK in terms of like size and profit generation and just typical like impact in the industry would make sense, but it comes with a lot. Ubisoft comes with a lot of baggage, man, and Ubisoft also just fought off being acquired by not Tencent but somebody else. I forget now. Look it up for me. But Ubisoft just fought off being acquired by another company. So do they really just want to dive straight back into being acquired by Sony? Granted, Sony would be a smarter acquisition than whoever they were being acquired by, because Sony at least deals in video games. And then on top of that, ever since they fought off that thing, Ubisoft hasn't been on the best track record either. But some things they're doing are better than others. So it's just a lot of concerning things.
I'm having trouble finding it. It wasn't Sony, was it?
No, it wasn't Sony. It was I don't want to say a Chinese company, but it was some foreign company that wasn't Tencent.
Vivendi?
Vivendi. Yes. Thank you. That's it exactly. Vivendi. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm Sony, I strategize and I go, okay, what is something sizable that makes sense? We already have business relations with, and we already have a history of putting their games exclusive to us on our consoles. Konami, Square Enix, both are Japanese companies. Sony being a Japanese company as well. All of this makes sense to me. Mm-hmm.
They did some kind of weird trailer recently. We had said in our little chat.
It's just a trailer.
It was a little trailer. It meant nothing. It was for some singer in Japan who's very popular.
Yeah, it was nothing.
It was more of a joke than anything else.
I was disappointed that's all it was. I thought we were going to get something really cool. Mm-hmm. But that is what it is. So, Connor, yes or no? PlayStation does something. I keep wanting to refrain from drastic. PlayStation does something intense with an acquisition. Yes or no? And then who is it?
Yes or no is in would I like that or not? Or
yes or no, it happens.
It's going to happen. I feel like yes, it'll happen with somebody. Square Enix ideally would be the best bet, considering their history, considering how everything's marketed. Mm-hmm. What I would also want is I feel like they'd be performing better even underneath Sony. I feel like that would,
Avengers would probably be a much better game underneath Sony.
yeah. Now, who would I, in my heart of hearts, who would I want? To be honest, I'd kind of want it to be EA. I know the realism isn't really high, but with games like the Mass Effect series haven't really taken off, Dragon Age hasn't taken off, Anthem didn't do all that well.
EA is trying to turn the boat around, though.
They could. I'm just, from an acquisition standpoint, it would make sense to have what EA's got. They like not even just Mass Effect and I just said it.
Dragon Age. Besides
that, they're EA games.
Yeah, EA. Yeah, you're looking at Respawn. You're looking at Madden. You're looking at sports games. Mm-hmm. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah. When you get to those,
I think the price tag is too big.
Yeah, that's the biggest if, because when you get to those aspects of EA, then it's like, well, do they really have much incentive to be bought out right now?
Exactly.
Maybe not.
I think
ideally, I would want it to be Square Enix though.
I think Square Enix is a smart target. If we're going to acquire one, I would personally want it to be Konami, because those are legacy titles that are just being left in the dust and doing nothing with. And Konami is doing similar business tactics as ABK, in which they're not really supporting games; they're supporting profit. Mm-hmm. And it's gross and it's disgusting, and I hate it. I want to see Metal Gear back in the limelight. I want to see, especially with the vacuum we have of stealth games. You have Hitman, and then you have whatever Arcane is doing. That's about it. But guess what? Arcane's next game isn't a stealth game. So it's a co-op shooter of some kind. So now we're sitting here like, well, what do we do? You know? So me personally, and Splinter Cell, we'll see. Thief is dead. So now you're just looking at what are we doing with Metal Gear? Fucking nothing. On top of that, Castlevania, Contra has been fucking ran into the ground and treated like shit for the last who knows how long. Like, these are big names and big franchises that mean something to the culture of games that I would love to see be revitalized and brought under studios who care. Or not studios, management who cares. That also, Japanese, those games are known for being on PlayStation anyway, so it just kind of makes fucking sense. But yeah, I think the smartest move, I think the best chess piece move would be to acquire Square Enix. Does it happen? I don't see why they don't do both, personally. But you start with Konami. Konami being a $10 billion, that's a number, I'm just throwing numbers around, as if I know anything, being, closer to your Bethesda acquisition numbers, and then if you were gonna do Square Enix, that's where you're gonna have to hit similar numbers to Xbox.
Konami's always come across as a company that would sell themselves out if the price tag was high enough. I feel like it wouldn't be too difficult to get them in on it if Sony was actually serious about trying to acquire some kind of company like that.
It just depends on a lot of factors that we aren't privy to.
Yeah.
But what we are privy to is sort of a back and forth conversation that's been happening in the news about the future of Call of Duty. With this acquisition, Microsoft does have the power to strip Call of Duty off of every other platform and keep it on Xbox if it wants. First of all, this excites me because that means Call of Duty on PC is going to mean something. Because Call of Duty always comes out on PC and nobody ever gets it on PC. So now it actually means something. We can get good servers on PC. People will actually play on PC. It being on Game Pass, PC for Game Pass, people are going to be playing that way. That's all great and exciting, and that's fun stuff. The concern is that PlayStation holds a significant piece of the market share, bro. And Call of Duty brings in a lot of fucking money. So, do you just strip yourself of a third of the possible profit you can hold? I don't know. It's a tricky conversation. We had this conversation with the Bethesda acquisition last year. But even then, I was saying, you don't spend $7 billion and not make the next Elder Scrolls exclusive. You just spent damn near $70 billion. And now you have, one of the biggest IPs in terms of unit sales and just profit generation in the industry. What do you do with it? It's already on PlayStation. They could treat it like Minecraft. Minecraft still, gets regular updates and is still on PlayStation consoles and so forth. But now you sit here and you wonder, okay, what are they going to do with Call of Duty? Now, it's interesting because Sony has already put out a statement to this. This is I'm pulling from, where is this? Push Square article by Liam Croft. Sony has this morning issued a statement in response to Microsoft's $69 billion deal to purchase Activision. In a quote shared with the Wall Street Journal via a Sony spokesperson, the firm said, quote, "We expect that Microsoft will abide by contractual agreements and continue to ensure Activision games are multi-platform." Very short, very blunt, very straight to the point. Hey, you're already under contract to work with us, bro. You better keep that up. Or else we're going to get a bag. We are going to get a bag off of you if you fuck that shit up, dog. And then Phil Spencer tweeted, today is the 23rd at the time of recording. You will hear this on the 24th. So on the 20th, Phil Spencer tweeted, "Had good calls this week with leaders at Sony. I confirmed our intent to honor all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony is an important part of our industry, and we value our relationship."
See, that's the Phil Spencer talk coming, where he's just kind of...
That's that, hey man, I'm the head of a $1 billion corporation. I can't say what I want to say, but, we're keeping the peace right now, is basically what that means. So, it's basically a conversation of, hey man, if you don't fulfill the contractual agreements that we've already signed, we're going to sue the shit out of you. To which Phil Spencer says, okay, that's fine. And you know what? Hey man, I'm even willing to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sure. But what do those numbers look like? Mm-hmm. Hey, man, what is it going to take to get Game Pass on PlayStation?
That'd be funny.
Now we have a conversation. Now we have a conversation where I see a future, not this year, not next year, because we're obviously too late for this year. The deal's not going to happen until next year anyway. Next year's game will be too far in development to cancel. So now you're looking at whatever Call of Duty 2024 is what you're looking at.
Long way off, but
a bit of a ways off, and it's also a conversation of, does it even happen in 2024? Does Call of Duty remain an annual franchise, or do they pump the brakes? Do they treat it like how they've been treating Assassin's Creed, where it's a year off and then 2 years on, then a year off and then 2 years on?
Could do some good for Call of Duty. I think they would.
Right?
They would need it.
No, it's a year off, year on, year off, year on.
Because the Assassin's Creed games jumped in quality when that happened, from a pitfall that they were currently in at the time with like Revelations and 3.
There could still be some more quality assurance happening on some of those. Those are very glitchy games.
Overall, at least they're better than they were in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. They're less cookie cutter. Mm-hmm. And Call of Duty has stagnated. Nobody's talking about Vanguard, even though it is still selling because it's Call of Duty. It's the number one highest selling game of 2021. It came out in November.
You have the assurance of a price tag selling.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Exactly. And then who even knows what kind of crazy numbers Warzone's bringing in with all of the microtransactions and seasonal things that they've got going on and season passes going on. Jesus Christ, that must be raking in money.
I would think that's the thing Sony's most scared of losing. Warzone.
Warzone.
Just constant stream of money that's coming in and isn't dying anytime soon.
If I were to guess, Warzone stays exactly where it is. You don't touch it. Mm-hmm. Maybe some percentages get moved around in terms of who gets what cut of what, but Warzone stays indefinitely.
Gamers feel nothing from it. I'm assuming. Yeah, you're probably
but Connor,
right.
I'll remind you, Warzone is not Call of Duty's first battle royale. They had whatever in Call of Duty. I think it was it Modern Warfare? It was Modern Warfare, right? They had Blackout or something like that. They had the Blackout mode, which wasn't free to play. It was tied into to whatever Call of Duty was tied into. And then I think it was Modern Warfare. What's to stop Xbox from saying, yeah, man, play Warzone as much as you want? Yeah, so Call of Duty 2024 will also be launching alongside a new Battle Royale free-to-play mode only on Xbox. Oh, and Warzone doesn't get any new updates. What's to stop them from saying that? Nothing. They can do that if they want.
Yeah. It's their whim. That's what matters.
Assuming there's not some contractual agreement that we don't know about. Mm-hmm. And I'm with you. Man, it sure would be nice if Call of Duty took a break. Because one, that would free up these other studios that are playing support to be able to actually put out other quality games that we want from them. And two, it would probably actually put some juice in Treyarch and Raven and Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward, like all of these studios. It'd probably put some juice in their backs again, and be able to have some actual inspiration and actual innovation in a franchise that has been stagnant for 10 years. So I don't know. It's a lot of wait and see. What I do expect, same old for this year for Call of Duty, same old for next year. It's 2024 where the conversation is going to get interesting. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna have to wait and see, man.
Hey, by that point it'll be easier to get a console, so maybe people will start going in the other directions.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Messy. We know PlayStation is gearing up for their version of Game Pass. But let's say PlayStation doesn't acquire a third-party publisher on the size of a ZeniMax or an Activision Blizzard. Okay? So then what do you do to counter Xbox's acquisitions? You probably have to put Game Pass on your platform and take a good chunk of cash from that. I don't know. It's all of just a matter of we'll have to wait and see. But Xbox is less in the business of selling machines. They're more in the business of selling Game Pass at this point. And with their they specifically focus on cloud streaming. So that means they know hardware is going away. It's not the hardware isn't going to matter as much anymore. And I've already said multiple times on this podcast, I think Xbox is the front runner for cloud gaming. They're doing it right. They're taking it slow, bit by bit, letting the technology evolve and doing it the right way. So now that they have even more freedom to do that and put some real investment time in it, I said at the top of this podcast, sure, these big third-party publishers and groups like Tencent, yeah, man, they have a lot of weight in the games industry in terms of business. But Xbox and Sony are now front runners, and it's particularly centered around the fact that they're the ones putting out the hardware. They're the ones that put out the machines that you can play the games on. So they matter just a touch more. But when it's so clear that, you know, the future is coming, it's knocking, it's on its way. The cloud is coming, and it's only a matter of time. So now Xbox is the front runner in that. PlayStation's fucking around with that as well. We'll see how that works, but it's a matter of, yo, Xbox already, like, if I can pick up a controller connected to my TV and jump into Game Pass, why would I ever buy a PlayStation 5? Mm-hmm. Why would I ever need to spend $500 on a console ever again? There's no reason to, you know? So Xbox is no longer focused on selling you the brick. It's focused on selling you the service. And that's why they get the note of, alongside the ABK acquisition, hey, by the way, 25 million subscribers, which we recently on this podcast, I want to say in the last 6 to 8 months, quoted a number where they were at 18 million.
It's increased.
It's increased significantly. Significantly increased in a short amount of time. You would assume probably because of the Bethesda acquisition. But this one is just going to jump their numbers up anymore. We are months away from them being at 30 million.
Yeah. The service itself is amazing.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
It's just, it's all, you're going to see that number go up and up and up over the years.
I'm subscribed. I use it on my PC all the time. It works exactly how you want it to. Let me click it. Hey, this game looks interesting. Let me click download it. Okay, now I have it. It's there.
My first experience with that when I did it with Halo Infinite was kind of surreal, because I was on the Xbox store, and it was just like, Game Pass, little symbol in the top. I'm like, I can click on that, and it just says download. Just game that I've...
It's like, sure, you can give us $60, or, you know, just give us 10 right now, and fuck it, you know.
Yep.
Who cares? Dangerous. Xbox is now in the position to rule this industry,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
and really dictate the direction in which it goes. And it's kind of scary for me.
Any kind of acquisition is always going to bring uncertainty, because going back to the monopoly conversation,
mm-hmm.
monopolies can be bad. I think we can all kind of agree on that. Yeah. They can completely screw over an industry. Now, I'm more hopeful, as with the recompense that I hope is going to be given towards the recompense. I'm fucking up the words today. God damn it. You're going to actually see some positive movement on the Activision Blizzard side of things, with Microsoft acquiring it and being a better manager than Activision Blizzard ever was. Hopefully. It seems like it's heading in that direction. The topic of worries about monopoly on the industry, it's kind of the same way. Microsoft doesn't seem like they're very eager to... They have such a good service that they got going on with things like Xbox Games Pass. Mm-hmm. They've acquired a bunch of studios, obviously. It doesn't seem like they have any need to screw over the industry in any way, at least none that I can see, to make me more worried than I otherwise would have been with other acquisitions.
Quite frankly, they're not at monopoly level yet. They're not there.
It's heading in that direction solely because of the acquisition.
At the rate it's heading, it's kind of concerning right now.
Right.
But is this starting an arms race where Microsoft buys ABK, Sony buys Square Enix, Microsoft buys Ubisoft, Sony buys EA?
Picking kids for the basketball team. It can become a situation like that.
And then suddenly it's Xbox and PlayStation just run the board. Mm-hmm. It's just those two. Nobody else is pushing anything in any type of narrative. It's just these two. That's it. And then Nintendo's hanging out. How much until Nintendo gets bought? You know? Mm-hmm. It's a possibility. It's possible. All of it's possible. How fucking crazy would it be if Sony bought Nintendo?
That'd be a little bit too surreal.
Sony being a split off of Nintendo that got screwed over with and then just circling all the way around 50 years later, being like, hey man, now we own you.
Time is a flat circle.
Christ, man. But it's stuff like that it's concerning, man. That's two voices. You have two voices in the industry now, as opposed to the 30 that we have right now. So now you sit back and you go, okay, what does that mean? Because like it's proven monopolization stagnates innovation, mm-hmm. and this is a booming medium that is dependent upon innovation at the current time and place. So now we sit here and we go, okay, so what happens next? Mm-hmm. You know. And I don't know, man. It's concerning. I don't think it's scary yet, but it is concerning.
Yeah, I mean,
Whereas,
If
like,
someone's going to buy this much stuff, you're going to be worried about what they're going to do with it.
Whereas, like, I think Disney is scary now. Mm-hmm. Disney's scary.
Yeah.
They've
been there for a while, in my eyes.
Yeah. For quite a while. Mm-hmm. But especially with their Fox purchase last year or whatever, whenever the fuck it was, the year before. Yeah, that's scary. Mm-hmm. They own, the mouse, I went to watch, Onward, and they had a Simpsons short at the beginning of Onward.
Oh.
And you know what happened right before that Simpsons short started?
What?
The mouse came up on screen.
Oh. You gotta get the branding out there.
It was the mouse and Simpsons next to a Pixar movie. That's scary. That's power. Anyways.
Can't fucking escape that goddamn rat.
And now, how long is it before we get the Xbox insignia in front of every time you turn on a TV? Not that they own the TVs, but they own the service in which you play video games.
What you're watching is what's making money for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a complicated conversation, and I don't know, man. I hope it doesn't turn into an arms race of just buying studios. I liked the pace we were working at before this acquisition, and now it's a little frightening. Even though I think when speaking specifically about ABK, this is a positive thing. Mm-hmm. It's the implications of what it can mean for the future that I think it turns into a negative thing.
Yeah, because let's be quite honest, it's probably not going to stop here. They wouldn't buy one of the biggest studios ever and then be like, all these other studios that would be cheaper, we're just not going to touch.
Sony's going to counter.
Yeah.
Sony's going to counter. And again, I mean, I said it with the Bethesda acquisition, when I said $7 billion was a lot of money. So they're probably going to take a break. But $70 billion is a lot of money. You probably want to put everything on pause and let your profits generate a little bit, I would assume.
69 billion. You gotta get these right.
Round it up.
It does not matter. It does not matter.
When you're talking numbers this big, bro, come on now. What is an extra billion?
No.
But Connor, let's go ahead and jump into just we've kind of touched on it already at this point, but let's go ahead and just talk about what this means for gamers. Mm-hmm. First of all, I think this is moderately short term. I think this is exciting for most gamers. Mm-hmm. One, you get services like Call of Duty on Game Pass, which is great for a lot of gamers. It adds value to their service, assuming the price doesn't go up per month, which I'm expecting it to happen eventually anyway. But Game Pass is cheap, and adding games like Call of Duty and Crash Bandicoot and Spyro to it, that sounds fantastic. I'm very excited for things like that. We are now in a position where World of Warcraft can come to consoles. Mm-hmm. That's cool. StarCraft can come to consoles. Diablo can thrive on consoles a little more than it already has. That's exciting stuff. That's cool stuff. I like that. I like those ideas. That sounds fun to me. Put more games in more places for more people to play the way they want to play.
I remember there was a time when I was always paying attention to what PC game was going to be moved to console, because usually what was put on PC, it's staying there.
Yeah.
Now it's become a lot easier for you to get some news the next day about how this game that you'd never heard of, or maybe heard of long ago back in the past, that you couldn't play as a result of console limitations, all of a sudden it's acquired by Microsoft, so you can play it on your Xbox.
Yeah.
Easy. Those things are good.
That's exciting. Yeah. I think the more interesting conversation is what we do with the studios now that we have them. Because now they're back on the board. Yeah. Activision was going to let Toys for Bob rot and just be a support studio for Call of Duty forever.
I don't see them doing that now.
So I don't see that happening anymore.
Are they going to move on to the projects that they had originally worked on, like another Tony Hawk game, or are they going to now be contracted?
Crash Bandicoot.
But wasn't Tony Hawk?
No, that's Vicarious.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Toys for Bob did the Crash Bandicoot remakes and the Crash 4. And I believe they did the Spyro.
Oh, I was talking in general.
Spyro remake. I understand. I was just... I was clarifying for the internet trolls.
Okay, yeah, I see. What was my original train of
thought? Do you let Toys for Bob come back in a meaningful way?
Yes. I don't see any way that Activision Microsoft would just keep them making Warzone content or
absolutely
Overwatch content.
Not.
So I do think they would go back to things like Crash Bandicoot, because now that they own Crash Bandicoot, or they will, hey, might as well put out a game with our branding on there. Let them know that we own this and now we do this. Spyro, I think you're going to see a resurgence of some of those games of people just deciding, it's sat long enough not being done worked on by any of the companies that owned it before. Let's make a name for ourselves and claim this IP that originally back in the day was anathemical. Bad with words today. To
I don't even know what that word means. So,
anathemical.
okay.
Negative. It's opposite.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think it'd be smart to really like branch out and let you just acquired a bunch of IPs. So yeah, go use them.
Yeah.
Go reignite passion and love for games that mattered to this culture a lot more than they do now. You know?
This is connected.
Yeah.
I see you on Twitter every now and then. Whenever it seems I see somebody talking about Jack and Dexter, you're always just there saying, "Yeah, maybe you shouldn't bring that back. Maybe not a good idea."
Yeah, Jack sucks.
Yeah, yeah.
Jack sucks.
That has been your opinion on that. But those obviously not Jack and Dexter because they're not.
That's a Sony owned.
Yeah, this is Sony owned right now. But looking at things like Spyro and like Crash Bandicoot, I don't know where I was going with my point.
Okay. Woohoo! Fantastic.
Moving on.
No, but yeah, you branch out these studios that have been forced into being support studios for Call of Duty and for Overwatch and Diablo and all these things, and you let them breathe again. You let them you put life into these studios again, and you let random games, who knows, or new IPs come out and do new things. All of that sounds super exciting to me. We pull back on Call of Duty maybe. We take the fucking the boot off of Infinity Ward's neck, and Treyarch's neck, which have been carrying that franchise for so long, and we let them, kind of breathe a little bit and let them kind of develop Call of Duty and maybe do something new with Call of Duty. And maybe now, instead of every year, every Call of Duty feeling the same and we just do a rotating, system here, maybe now it's like, hey man, yeah, Treyarch has this year, covered. Yo, Infinity Ward, take your time. Do whatever you want. If you really want to change the direction of Call of Duty, do it. Let's have actual identity between these studios who work on Call of Duty. Let's have them actually have some identity behind the Call of Duties that they work on now, instead of everyone feeling the same. Fuck it. Sledgehammer now makes Call of Duty, but they're RPGs.
Oh my god.
Who knows, man? We could really get fucking crazy with it now. This is all hopeful and likely not going to happen because you probably, with the amount of money that brand makes, you probably don't want to dilute the brand that much. But who knows, man? Now you have some freedom to kind of do whatever you want, with it and to really try new things. And maybe you'll find something that'll make you just as much money, or maybe you'll find something that makes you more money. Who knows?
They've been given the keys to a lot of cars. It's only a matter of how they use it.
And then, listen, man, you have a great platform with Warzone. In terms of profit, let that carry your Call of Duty flavor, the on brand thing, and then have the mainline games be something new, something fresh, something we haven't seen before. Let's have a Call of Duty game that plays like a first person Uncharted. Let's have a Call of Duty game that plays like a turn based strategy game. Let's have a Call of Duty that is what is the genre of Halo Wars?
Oh, RTS.
RTS, a real-time strategy. Fuck it. Why not? You've got the studios to do it. You can back off on the breakneck speed in which these games have come out, which the studios are faltering to. That's why Call of Duty, Black Ops 4, was that it? No, Black Ops 3, no. Black Ops 3 had a campaign. Black Ops Cold War didn't? Is that right?
I think it was Cold War. I don't think Cold War did.
One of them didn't have a campaign.
No, it was World War II did one.
World War II had a campaign.
Yeah.
One of them didn't have a campaign because they couldn't get it together in time. One studio, I think Vanguard wasn't supposed to come out this year. It was supposed to be next year's game. But
it was Black Ops 4.
It was Black Ops 4? Yeah, but the Call of Duty in between Cold War and Vanguard fell through. They couldn't get it to work. So then they accelerated the process and put Vanguard out this last year. So now, the model was failing, and I'm sure the pandemic was a huge part of this. But when your model is failing, your base is stagnated, and your response, at least to Vanguard and even the last couple of Call of Duties, with the exception of Modern Warfare, have been middling. Fuck it, man. What do you want to do? Hey, Infinity Ward, what do you want to do? What direction do you want to take Call of Duty in?
Imagine if they heard those words said to them. What do you want to do?
Right?
They look up from their long scripts of what they've been writing down for years.
Exactly,
What?
man.
What'd you say? I could do things now, not Call of Duty.
We can experiment. We can do something new. Okay, let's fucking do it. Do I think all that's going to happen? Probably not. Call of Duty's probably just going to be Call of Duty, but it'll probably be a reignited version of Call of Duty. A Call of Duty that is exciting to jump back into. One that would catch my interest and make me go, yeah, you know, Call of Duty's Call of Duty. I'm burnt out. I'm done. Oh, wait. You've been working on this one for 3 years? Mm-hmm. And it's been 2 years since a Call of Duty came out? Okay, yeah, sure, fuck it. Let me jump in. Let me see what's up.
I just want games to be good to play. I don't really care if it's got a name attached to it, like Call of Duty. I just want to play good games. And
just to be fair, Call of Duty are good games.
Yeah, but it's games that I like.
It's the stagnation of them that bothers me. So
don't want to play them anymore. Now, obviously, the big question: will people be able to play the games that they want to play? Because one of the big questions we had was, will we be able to play Bethesda games on PlayStation? We still don't know. We don't know the answer to that. Obviously, there've been more.
Call of Duty's the black sheep, in my opinion. Not to cut you off, but Call of Duty's the black sheep. It's the only one that we can have a conversation about. All the others, you don't spend $70 billion and not make exclusive.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of.
You'll never see
doing that.
Diablo 4, Xbox exclusive. Overwatch 2, probably Xbox exclusive. That one can get a little messy too, but more than likely Xbox exclusive. Whatever else is coming down the pipe,
who knows?
Xbox, man. That's where you're getting it. World of Warcraft, I would be surprised if World of Warcraft, they get rid of their monthly membership and just throw it into Game Pass. Mm-hmm. And it's on Game Pass, and that's where it is.
That'd be a good advertising for it. Maybe even with the jump in price, they could say, hey, you get
the biggest video game of all time. Yeah. I don't know, man.
It's that part's worrisome because at that point, from a consumer standpoint, are you going to be like how much money do you have to put up to play the games you want to play? Because you may have to. You bought a PlayStation. Oh, I want to play a bunch of these games. They're only available on Xbox or PC. Got to go get one of those. It is a whole issue that I don't want to have to deal with. Many other people don't want to.
And we're going to have to circle. The whole thing about Netflix was, we get to cut the cord. Everything's streaming now. But now there's so many different streaming packages and exclusives that you go, fuck, man, we're right back where we started.
Yeah.
Granted, even if you had HBO Max, Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, that is still a cheaper package than what cable prices were back in the day. Mm-hmm. So now you look at it and you go, fuck, man, there's 3 different tiers to Xbox Game Pass. PlayStation Spartacus has 3 different tiers. Which one do I want to spend? Okay, I'm spending $20 a month over on PlayStation. I'm spending $30 over on Xbox because the Xbox has more games. Fuck, man, now where do I sit? Well, $50 a month, do the math. Like, with the amount of games, assuming you're playing that many games, and really getting, your bang for your buck, it's $50 a month is still better than buying one full price game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you have access to all of them. You have access to all of the games. You can do whatever you want. And every 8 years, once cloud hits, every 8 years, you don't have to buy a $500 console.
Mm-hmm.
The value's there. The value's still there, even if the price jumping happens. But if it's like, hey man, yeah, for Xbox, no, because they're all core Xbox game studios now. I don't know, it's complicated. Mm-hmm. It's really complicated. Hey man, do you want the Game Pass tier that gives you all the Activision Blizzard games? Here you go. Or do you want the here you go, $15 instead of $10 a month? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you go down that rabbit hole and it gets messy. Mm-hmm. It's complicated. I'm excited though.
Yeah,
and worried.
I'm unsure. I guess is my overall thing because there's some excitement there. There's some worries there. It's really a question of which emotion am I going to be feeling? Am I going to be feeling by the end of it all?
It's a matter of if anybody else had made this acquisition, I'd be a lot more scared. I'd be a lot more nervous.
It'd be an instant shit, we're fucked.
It's because it's Xbox and how consumer friendly they are and how well Phil Spencer has led Xbox ever since he took over. That makes me go, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. This is going to be cool. The problem comes in long term because any of this could flip on a dime.
Phil Spencer cannot be CEO anymore.
At any point, Phil Spencer could retire and be like, hey, man, fuck it. I'm done.
Unfortunately, he could die.
Or he could, something tragic could happen. And then who gets put in his place? Now I'm worried. Yeah. I don't know this guy as well as I knew that guy. What's going to happen now?
Microsoft 10 years ago is different than Microsoft today for good reasons.
Yeah.
But the inverse can also be true. We can be so happy. Hey, Microsoft has all these studios under its belt. They're doing so many good things with it. 20 years down the line,
and that's
you
where
have a war between that and Sony. The consumer's caught in the middle, and they're paying for it. While the two other big companies are
really you could really look at it and go, Yo, remember when Arcane used to make games? Fuck, man. That was cool. Like, come on, man. Like, that's a future that could happen.
Uh-huh.
And, now it's kind of scary to think about.
And you know what the worst part is?
Yeah.
The person, in the case of that worst case scenario, the person that we can turn to make things right is the U.S. government.
Ugh.
And it's, shit, we're fucked. We're never getting anything done.
Connor, I think we've exhausted our Activision Blizzard acquisition here. So, let's go ahead and polish this bad boy off with some what you've been playing. Connor, remind me, last week I talked about how I beat Death's Door, yes?
Yeah, you did.
Fantastic. I've since gone back and platinumed it.
You did the Umbrella run, huh?
Yes, I did. And, yeah, the parts that were hard were hard. Exactly as hard as I thought it would be. But surprisingly, the boss fights weren't that bad. So there's that.
Good.
It really just elongates every battle and just turns it into, okay, I know the attack pattern of every enemy now, so now it's just a matter of outlasting all of these patterns until I win. And the same goes for the boss fights. And then there were like some secret trophies hidden behind doing certain actions in specific boss fights. For example, there's a boss fight that's a frog, and that frog comes in right as you get the bomb ability, and there's a trophy to feed the frog a bomb. So you have to wait until he does the certain move where he's like sucking a bunch of air, and then you throw a bomb in it or whatever. It's just little small stuff like that. On top of 100%ing the game, which was a joy to do anyway, because there's a great. I don't think I talked about it last week, or maybe I did. Did I talk about true ending stuff last week?
No. You just said you beat it.
Yeah, there's like a true ending thing hidden behind, not 100%ing the game, but doing some side objectives that unlock once you roll credits. So it's just like some extra stuff like to do, which was all just a fun to explore and find all my things. And there's a lot of great systems, built into the game once you're post final boss to be like, hey man, there's still stuff in this area that you still need to go find. Oh, okay, let me jump into there real quick and to see what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, Death's Door, phenomenal game. Still, love it. I actually had fun doing the Umbrella run, which I wasn't expecting to do. I did it in like one sitting.
Oh, okay.
Or one or two sittings, I forget. Just because the game is just so solidly built that I was just like, yeah, I'm still having a good time playing this, even though I just played this, and now it's, more annoying because I can't play around with different weapons or anything, but, still had a good time. Fucking smoked that final boss, bro. Let me tell you what. Yeah. It was great.
Umbrella fight was not difficult with that guy.
No. I don't think the final boss is that tough anyways. But yeah. Death's Door, now platinumed. Fantastic game.
None of the list.
Great job, Acid Nerve, on that. Love Death's Door.
Revisiting, not for a while?
No, yeah, I'm done with it now.
There's
no need to. It's a great game, but I'm putting it away.
Greener pastures.
Greener pastures. Well, I don't know about that because I've been moving on to Guardians of the Galaxy.
I
am now, I don't know, 5 hours in, maybe, probably not even that much. I don't know, somewhere around there. It's hard to tell. And okay, now I'm at the point where I'm starting to get what you and Phil were talking about. Yeah, the story's good. Yeah. The writing's pretty damn good. It's clever. The title card, when your heroes are hanging upside down and then the title card hits, so then the title card is upside down. That was cute. I liked that a lot. No real spoilers or anything. And then some of the character relationships that are happening to get the plot kicked off. I hope that becomes a major part. So the space cop lady, she a big part of the story in the game, or do we not see her again for a while?
Guess you'll have to find out. Why is that
Because I like that character, and I want that character to stick. I like her relationship with Peter Quill, and I want to see that develop.
Guess you'll have to see.
I guess I'll have to see.
No spoilers here. Not for me.
But yeah, and I'm enjoying the story and the character dialogue and the writing and all of that. This combat fucking sucks. The whole game, and it's getting better as I get more abilities and stuff. I've got the little freeze ray thing going on now, and I'm like, okay, this is now things are making a little more sense. I'm putting combos in. I'm using my teammates. That is providing some sort of entertainment. And when everything hits, it does hit. Mostly like it's not great, but it's never bad. Like it provides some sense of euphoria when things pop off. Except when it gives you like the prompt to do like a final finisher move, and then the animations don't match.
No, never.
And it doesn't look like Peter hit the thing, and he did. I'm like, oh, God, this is so cheap. Directly compared to Spider-Man, where that combat hit so fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
And this being a linear game and not hitting at all makes me go, all right, okay, I guess this is fun. Honestly, I kind of enjoy the combat in Marvel's Avengers more than this game.
Yeah.
Because I just felt more empowered moment to moment, even though that game was way more bullet spongy than this one. But when I did hit things, it hit. I felt like when I hit someone with Cap's shield, it hit.
Yeah, it's got variety in the characters.
When I threw Thor's hammer and it stuck a lesser enemy to a wall, that was cool. I liked that. When I was Hulk and I picked up a giant rock and threw the giant boulder rock, I felt it. It felt good. This, nothing feels good. Mm-hmm. The blasters feel terrible. I feel like I may as well just be throwing spitballs at enemies. I don't like how they feel. I don't like how they interact. I don't like that I'm playing on easy, and some of the lesser enemies require, I can't kill them without overheating my weapons. Now, granted, maybe that'll improve with some upgrades or something, but that's kind of an issue.
Doesn't really.
It doesn't?
No.
Fuck!
You get good on those timing on the reloading.
Also which I'm glad that the active reload is there.
Yes, oh god.
But also the double tap to get the charge blast, I feel like doesn't work.
I never used it again after that because it's just so because you have to hold it down after the second tap, which is weird. I don't know why it doesn't just charge up and you just boop, boop.
I can't even get it to charge half the time. Where I double tap and he's still just shooting the normal way, and I go, motherfucker, do what I want you to do.
I would sometimes have that problem as well. That's why I stopped using it.
Connor, tell me why with the destructible environment points. Tell me why it takes so long to break these things. I have to overheat my guns to destroy parts of the environment? What are you talking about?
And traversal overall is great in Guardians of the Galaxy. You get to where you need to go. Yeah.
No, it's not!
You get to where you need to go quickly.
This is the worst Uncharted game I've ever played.
But you at least get to where you need to go quickly. You're not shambling for too long on some kind of building
Oh,
side.
Is that why I keep clicking in the left stick hoping Peter Quill's gonna sprint, but guess what? There's no sprint.
Yeah, the map always seemed to compensate.
Moving so quickly.
The map always seemed to compensate for that, because there's always short distances between things going on.
You're mostly right, but sometimes it does feel like, man, I've been around these parts, I was just backtracking for exploring reasons, and now I want to get back to the golden path really quickly. Okay, cool, whatever, fuck it. Mm-hmm. Sure, yeah, fine, whatever. This is, ugh. And, dude, I did it today, where there's a bit where, it's like, oh, the bridge isn't here. We got to find another way around. And I was like, okay, well, that part of the wall is destructible. There's a crack there's a hole that I can squeeze through. Okay, let me squeeze through this. Oh, and it leads to a incline. So I'm sliding down the incline, and it's a classic, slide down the Uncharted, slide down, jump, grab the ledge. I missed that jump 3 times.
Tam, between this and Jak and Daxter, maybe there's something else there.
I'm not bad at platformers, Connor. I'm not.
Hey, I never said you were bad at platformers. I just said...
No, but Connor, it's not that I didn't make the jump. I made the fucking jump. Peter Quill just didn't grab the fucking ledge. Sure. Let me put it on me. Maybe I fucked up. It didn't feel like I fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. That's bad. That's bad game feel. I don't feel good when I walk around the world. It doesn't feel good. But then we do a flashback. We talk to Peter Quill's mom, and I'm like, this is very heartfelt, and I like this.
Yeah. That keeps you going. It really does. Now, are you playing on easy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you switched over?
Yes.
That was... I can't imagine
I would probably be
killing
I started this game on hard.
Oh, man.
And I only made it... it's not like I got killed or anything, but I only made it 20 minutes in before I was like, I'm bored, and I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'd probably be wanting to tear my hair out if I stayed on that level. I don't like how this game feels. I don't think it plays well at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that the narrative and some of its shots are pretty, but the game isn't a super pretty game. But some of the shots are really well shot,
mm-hmm.
And organized. So it does there were moments where I'm like, oh, this looks good. It's well directed and
mm-hmm.
well shot and well acted, and I'm like, I like all of this. And at first, these characters felt like rip-off versions of the movie versions of these characters, but the more time I spend with them, they actually feel more fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm early. I'm really early. And the way they're kind of cheating because it's a video game, and, we can have ancillary dialogue as we move through the environment that doesn't matter and just kind of is for characterization
mm-hmm.
and so forth. But the actors are doing a really good job. They're doing a really, really good job. And the writing is, you guys are right. The writing in the story is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite good.
Yeah.
My hang-up is just the part that matters in video games, and it's the game part I don't think is good.
I told that to one of my friends, and they responded by saying, well, why don't you just watch playthroughs on YouTube? And I'm like, well,
Honestly,
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
not a bad
Every
idea.
day-
but they do make up for it a little bit with the limited dialogue choices that you have, which don't really affect anything.
No.
But it does it just adds some color to your playthrough, and it makes you feel engaged in the story.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but it does. It just allows you to like. I find myself like role playing as Peter Quill, where it's there's moments where like the team is bickering back and forth as you're making your way through the wasteland or whatever, and a dialogue option pops up for Peter, and it's either rally the team or join in. And I'm like, me personally, I'm like, I would rally my team and be like, hey guys, let's focus up. Peter wouldn't. So I find myself role playing as Peter and being like, all right, yeah, sure, he's going to complain too, because this is what this team is. It's just a bunch of fucking people who are bitching all the time. And it's funny. That's a good sign. That's a great sign. I get it. It's just the thing that everything around it, I don't like.
I think you'll find very few people that would. Well, didn't they get nominated for like best action adventure game or something like that?
Yeah, something.
Yeah. But most people would agree with you that the gameplay isn't.
It's not
much to
good,
preach home
man.
about.
It's not.
No.
I do like when it's like, here's like a part of the environment. It's not a puzzle, but it's like a click the button to do the thing. But they make you they assign one of your team members to do the thing. And so it's like, if there's vines in your way, have Gamora slice them down. If there's a big rock that needs to be moved, have Drax pick it up. If a bridge needs to be created, have Groot, and so on and so forth. The tech thing, something needs to get hacked.
Yeah.
Rocket, you're up. I like that. That's fun. It's not deep or innovative or even satisfying to like in terms of feel, but it's kind of cute. Where I look at a wall and I go, this wall is in my way. Who would best get me past this wall?
Yeah.
This character. Let's do that.
Sometimes they'll say no. Like, no, not my job.
If you pick the wrong character, they say no. It gives you the choice to pick the character. You go, Rocket, go tear down those vines. What the fuck are you talking about, tear down those vines? That's not me. I don't use swords. And you go, oh, right, who uses swords? Gamora uses swords. Okay, let's give it to Gamora.
At a certain point, they actually just stop letting you choose, and it just does it. Like, late game.
Oh, that's kind of lame.
It kind of fit because it was the end game.
Got tired?
And no, it was the end game. Like, it was, everything was going off. It was the climax of the story, and they just were kind of getting you through the mission, it seemed. But, yeah, for most of the game, it does do that.
Great music.
Good music. I love it.
Great music. I love liking the music. I can't play this game on stream. Twitch.tv/2pennygames. I can't play it on stream because of the music. I know there's a way to turn it off, but I don't want to. No, I'm flying around listening to Aha's Take on Me. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's kind of. Does the game open up or is it always linear?
Open up? Oh, no, it's always linear.
It's always linear? Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious if I had like choices to go to different planets or anything.
No.
No,
Yeah,
it's
no
just,
choice
okay.
at all. It's on the railroad.
Okay. Well, all right. I wouldn't have minded if this was just pretty much just a Mass Effect ripoff. That would have been kind of cool. But,
With the Marvel skin, the Guardians of the Galaxy skin.
Like literally just give me Mass Effect but Guardians. Mm-hmm. That sounds fun to me. But instead they've given me Uncharted but Guardians, which I guess also makes sense on paper, but didn't come together.
No, it did not. It did not. But the game came together. I think overall,
in some way, sure, yeah.
The ways that won an award, at least.
Here, let me cut it some slack. It's playable. It's not an unplayable game. It's just the fact that it's so easy to directly compare this to Spider-Man, and even when Avengers was a flop, but I liked Avengers gameplay more. That it kind of speaks to the level of quality of gameplay you're getting here. You know what I'm saying? Where like. Feel how you want about Spider-Man in terms of story or narrative or those are the same thing. Character or even game structure. Okay, yeah, the Mary Jane mission sucked. Okay, yeah, the hacking mini games, the puzzles and stuff were tacked on and slow and felt like they killed the pace. But I'll be damned to hear that if someone isn't enjoying going around the open world, stopping random crimes. I'll be damned. Mm-hmm. No, you enjoy those crimes. I know you do. You have to, because that game is that good in that way. You can't say that about Guardians. They even do the same, like, press triangle and circle when the enemy is stunned. And that doesn't feel good. Felt really good in Spider-Man, though. Mm-hmm. And it's not fair to directly directly compare, because one game, Insomniac versus Eidos Montreal, Insomniac has always put out better games, which, isn't like a fair comparison from the jump, because Eidos Montreal has put out good games. It's just this one just did not. It just didn't work. And then it's so many flavorings of Uncharted, and I'm just like, ugh. I would much rather be playing Uncharted, which is the Legacy of Thieves collection's coming out this Friday. I'm gonna stream some Friday, Thursday night, Friday morning.
Per your contract, you got it.
Twitch.tv/2penny for my contract. So please come check that out if you're still listening an hour and 40 minutes into this fucking podcast. Anyways, Connor, that's what I've been playing. Connor, have you been playing anything this week?
I've been continuing playing Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay.
I've gotten back on track on the main story because I did complete episode Yuffie.
How was it?
A lot shorter than I thought it would.
Really?
Would be. It kind of, in a way...
Like 5-6 hours?
I beat it in like a little over, barely over 4 hours.
Okay.
Pretty quickly. But it kind of just... First of all, the ending seems like it kind of just ended. Like it forced its way through certain things that go on, and like, okay, this happens, end. Let's wrap it up.
Oh, we feel like you got the cliff notes.
Not necessarily, because it doesn't seem like it. I'm not caught off guard, right? I'm not like, wait, it's over. I see it wrapping up. I see what it's doing, but the moments that
You just needed a few more beats.
Yeah, it was leading up to certain moments. And the execution of those moments didn't go out the way that I thought they would have gone out.
We just needed a little more time, be able to breathe a little more into this story. Okay.
Yeah, like for example, I'll say that's a spoiler for the original.
How weird because Final Fantasy VII Remake arguably takes too long.
Funny enough, on a second playthrough, it doesn't seem to be taking as long.
You don't think so?
It seems a lot. Maybe I haven't hit the point where I'm going to feel it yet.
It took a long time to get to that Shinra building.
But that's like the climax too, isn't? Well, not the climax.
It took a long time just to get there.
I see.
You remember the concrete, like you're going across the highway?
I remember that.
That was a long level. Probably didn't need to be in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then the Shinra building itself was also very, very long.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that parkour segment with Tifa? That totally sucked?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that in the game?
Didn't work out that part.
Yeah.
No, it did not. Thankfully, there's never really anything like... It's the opposite with the episode intermission.
I think the pacing is great until... Really? Until you leave for Shinra. I guess spoilers, but the game's 2 years old at this point. When Aerith gets kidnapped, that's when it starts to drag.
That's even an older spoiler. It's been...
it's Final Fantasy VII. Like, come on now. They're out there, and it's not. I'm not even giving you any real spoilers.
Yeah, I guess in that light, in episode Yuffie, the plate falls. And there was... It didn't do the best job of establishing emotional reasons for Yuffie to care, but she still had reasons to care. And it was building up to that big moment, because it obviously expects you to have played the game beforehand, and you know that's a big plot point.
That's crazy, because they nailed it in the main game.
Oh, they nailed it amazingly.
Yeah.
And that's maybe why they didn't do it in this case, because it's like...
You already know.
But it's kind of weird, because that scene does happen, and then it transitions to another scene that's completely tonally different. And it's kind of like, I thought they'd have a little bit more follow-through on that, rather than just a pretty quick cutscene.
But, I mean, just because you're witnessing 9/11 from a different perspective doesn't mean you should, reduce the travesty of 9/11. You know what I'm talking about?
No, yeah. It was just my emotional impact that it was trying to give me. That moment was trying to give me just didn't hit me the way I guess they were trying to get it to.
Maybe you're just a heartless bastard.
Maybe I am a heartless bastard.
You didn't care for the characters of The Last of Us Part 2, and you're wrong for that.
Mass death, individual death, all of it is irrelevant. Life's useless. It's all funny to me. As I said before, though, a lot of my experiences with Sonon and Yuffie, the two characters that you have access to in this one, not being able to control Sonon, having full control over Yuffie, and her being a very well fleshed out character to play in the future, there weren't any bosses that I was really crazy about, or any combat moments.
Really?
Where I was like, wow, this is really impressive and
That's
really
kind of upsetting, because there's a lot of great bosses in the main game.
Yeah, there are. Which is why when I finished
Which, to be fair, maybe it's a DLC pack. So, maybe we're putting a little too much on it.
Maybe, yeah. I can't help but compare it to the main game, considering it's tacked on to that main game. And
also, Ghost of Tsushima's Iki Island expansion was great.
Yeah, and they had a lot of stuff going on
even
there.
Though I didn't finish it. But,
Oh, you didn't?
No. I put it down and I never picked it back up. Mm-hmm. I think I actually deleted Ghost off of my console this last week to make space for Uncharted.
Oh my god, fucking Christ. Another big thing is a lot of the worry I saw before this DLC came out was the integration of story content, because one of the things they've been espousing with Final Fantasy is they're going to try and bring this new one all together. All the different bits and pieces you've learned from games, from other sources, they're going to try and include it all. One of those that people saw that they were trying to make some movement on was the PlayStation 2 game, Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus. There are certain characters, there's a certain faction that is the main antagonist of that game.
Cerberus?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I won't go into it more specifically. The characters exist, and they are important in that game. It's not received the best because the story it's not good. The plot is not good. It's actually, honestly, a fun game. I played it. That was actually my first introduction to Final Fantasy VII, as embarrassing as it is. I know, very weird. But the characters themselves that were introduced, not that good, kind of made some things fucky. Going into this, with them trying to integrate that, I am more hopeful than I was originally, because they do it in a way that's not overbearing. It didn't feel like they were trying to force things into the game. It came across very naturally. Though, maybe one of the character designs kind of clashed with a lot of the other things that I've been seeing in Final Fantasy, because, Dirge of Cerberus obviously wasn't given the same priority as a mainstay Final Fantasy game, so they didn't give as much of their usual attention to it. But that's really just a minor complaint, especially because these characters do seem to be going in a different direction, and they're going to be used completely differently. So they could be a lot more likable than they were in Dirge of Cerberus, and a lot more memorable. But thankfully, any fear I had that they would really just start butchering the story from that point hasn't occurred yet. So even though I still have the questions and the worries about where Final Fantasy VII is going to go in the future with the stuff they're going to try and do with the game, this makes me more hopeful that they didn't just clearly mess this part of the game up.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's, probably the best positive note I have from the game, just some assurance that I'm going to be getting better Final Fantasy VII content in the years down the road.
I hope they hurry.
With making it?
I hope they hurry, because as someone who the first experience was 7 Remake and then went back and played the original game, but I played it with the cheats on so that I could just get the story. I'm starting to the details are starting to get fuzzy, and my interest is starting to dwindle. I'm still all in, but it's I sit there and I go, man, this is gonna be 5 parts, and it takes how many years in between each part?
You want the needle to be pushing faster.
Yeah. Now, granted, I would want them to take their time and put out great games and not crunch their studio. But at the same time, come on, let's go. I'm ready for an announcement of 7 Remake Part 2. Even though Final Fantasy 16 is sitting somewhere in the ethos, who knows when we're ever going to get that game.
Maybe in the news at the same time.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for your 2 Penny Gamescast episode 79, a whopping hour and 46 minutes. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, you can get us every Monday, 8 a.m., youtube.com/2pennygamescast, or mainstream podcast services of your choice, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Please rate, share, follow. We really, really do appreciate it. It really does help us get through. Please drop a like on the YouTube videos and all that. Remember, you can catch us twitch.tv/2pennygames, Tuesday, 1 p.m. Central Time, every week for Hype. I'm sorry, 2 p.m. Central Time, every week for Hype. We're going to finish off God of War this week, hopefully, fingers crossed. It depends on if Phil can figure out how to parry, and can get through the fucking Valkyries. But, until next week, have a great week. And Connor, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye.